Devil's Bait podcast. Here we are, Glenn. What's the crack?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Playing well, I'm good, but after today's performance, I don't know how I'm really feeling. Bit mad, wasn't it?
Yeah. Emotions.
But crazy weekend overall.
We know Friday had me on the edge, man, to be honest. All day and work. I just couldn't wait to hear where Ronaldo was going.
Oh, Roddy, do you know what? You're hearing reports about him going to Man City, and I was doing my best to just try and hold out. You know what I mean? Hope that he'd come to us. And then I remember, I think someone threw into the chat where you're looking at Mendes and he's supposedly coming out of meetings with City or something. And I was thinking, this is definitely happening. And then you know what happened? It was actually Gary from the Manchester United the Facebook page that started putting up stuff on Friday that made me start to have a little bit of belief, because he was like, the bookies there start suspending things on Ronaldo joining United. And I was like, this could happen. And then it just started breaking everywhere, and I was just like, we'll take that.
Well, I got a fright, Glenn, because I don't know if you saw that there was an image going around. I don't know if it was on Instagram or on WhatsApp of Ronaldo wearing the Man City jersey. So someone had photoshopped one onto him coming off the plane.
Yeah.
I've
seen that, yeah.
Fucking way, man.
It just couldn't, like, don't get me wrong, if he had a joined City, Rory, I wouldn't have thought of him as a traitor or anything. I would have just thought and said, look, the chap's 36, he's leaving Italy, he probably wants to go and work with Guardiola or something. Do you know what I mean? It would have been, if we had came in for him and he said no and joined City, it probably would have been a little bit different. But as far as what we were all getting told through with the news, it was like we weren't interested in him at all, and he was just able to go and do what he wanted. Do you know what I mean? So from that end of it, I wouldn't have held it against him, but it would have been horrible to see him in the City jersey. You know, imagine coming up against us and all. How would we deal with him? You know what I mean? But the fact that he joined us was, I don't know how I felt. It was just a nostalgic feeling. You know what I mean? Because you witnessed him turning into one of the greatest players of all time while he was at us, really. He won his first Ballon d'Or when he was with us in 2008. And there's a lot of people talking about the fact that, you know, you've all these rival fans, like the likes of Liverpool fans and all, he's 36, you'll be signing Ryan Giggs next, all this sort of shit. But no one is saying we're signing the Ronaldo that we had.
Of course.
But when you look at it, Rory, 450 goals and 438 games for Madrid. That's sick. I don't care who you're there. That's sick. Then he goes to Serie A and he becomes the fastest Juventus player in that history to ever reach 100 goals. So we're getting someone that knows where the goal is. Do you know what I mean? Stick him between the posts and he's going to score. We're getting the Michael Jordan of football, really. That's what we're getting here. And the fact that he's come back to us obviously gives everyone a big lift. It gets to give the fans a big lift. It'll definitely give the team a big lift. But the thing that sticks out for me is, Rory, about that whole Ronaldo thing is that you look at, you've like two of the best players to ever grace the game in Messi and Ronaldo. Messi leaves Barcelona and goes to PSG. PSG are probably the only club, apart from Man City, that could probably deal with the wages that Messi would want. But for me, Messi's going to win that league. He's going to win the league with PSG. There's no doubt about that. He's probably going to win it the whole time he's there. And he probably is going to win the Champions League. He's probably the last piece of the puzzle for them to go win the Champions League. But what separates Ronaldo from Messi for me is that Ronaldo's coming back to the best league in the world, where he's done it before. Yeah. He's putting his rep back on the line. He's coming into a league where you're looking at Man City, they're the best team they've ever had in the whole history. They've probably the best manager right now in the world in Guardiola. You look at him coming up against the likes of Harry Kane. He's coming up against Lukaku again in his position. He's coming up against the best Liverpool team they've had in the Premier League era. So, you know what I mean? That shows you the player that you're getting. And again, as I said, we all know that he's not going to be the player that he once was, but he's the fittest man on the planet. Do you know what I mean? If you look back to that goal he scored against Germany in the Euros, where he breaks from his box, the Portugal box, all the way into the German box and scores. It's a tap in, Jota sets him up. But the fact is, he was willing to get into the box. He was willing to make that run. I think he made it in like 10 seconds or something. So it's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just hope that Ollie can deal with it. And I hope that he doesn't turn around and start saying he needs time to bed in and all this bollocks. Because it's Ronaldo. He doesn't need time to bed in. He should start as soon as he's available. And I'm hoping that it's the 11th of September because I'm going over. So he better start in that game, or he better come on or something.
I'd say he'd be hanging over the sideboard looking for an autograph, Glenn.
Rory, I'm buzzing to see what the atmosphere is going to be like over at Manchester, outside the stadium, in the stadium. I mean, if he doesn't play, I'm hoping he comes out onto the pitch in some sort of thing the way Varane did. But for me, I'm saying if he's available, he plays right from the beginning. You know what I mean? But you'd have to say as well, Rory, you have to say the way the club handled it was very well. I thought the way Ollie handled it, came out in his press conference and just basically came out and says, "We're here." He wants to leave Juventus. He knows where we are. And that was really the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of the media and all. That's when they knew that Ronaldo was coming home, basically.
Yeah. And do you think one of the reasons he wants to leave Juve then is to get trophy way before his career ends?
Huh?
Do you think he's looking to win trophies? He's coming to United looking to win trophies, Glenn, is it?
Of course he's coming to win trophies, Roddy. Why else would he be coming? Like, as I said to you, he's on a mission. I think he looked at the Juventus side and says, this team is nowhere near the team that they were a couple of years ago, before he joined. Do you know what I mean? And you look at the power and the respect that Ronaldo has. You know, people are saying, oh, he didn't do it. They didn't win the league last season. They didn't do 10 in a row. And he didn't win the Champions League with them. So what? The chap was a top scorer on Serie A. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, he's definitely coming to win trophies. And it's like, I just think we're having another battle between Ronaldo and Messi on a personal level. You know what I mean? As I said, Messi's going to win trophies. There's no doubt about that. And I think Ronaldo's obviously coming. That's because it's just the nature of the beast, Roddy. He's a winner, man. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you just have that chap Mick there commenting, like, Ronaldo at 36 is in better condition than Vardy at 33. He'll tear the Premier League up. I've no doubt about that.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. So,
and then there's mention of Fred there as well, and we'll get to Fred. But I want to know what you think. What else is Ronaldo going to bring to the team? So he's 36, experienced player. We have a lot of young players in the team. What impact is he going to have to them?
Motivation, hard work, dedication. They're going to be seeing how he goes about being the greatest player of all time. Or, you know, it all goes into prep. So that way he is not going to accept anything less than 110% on the pitch. And that's why I'm saying, like, a player like Ronaldo won't need time to bed in with us, because he will be coaching on the pitch, basically. Do you know what I mean? He'll be barking orders around the players, telling them where he wants the ball and all, to watch out. You know what I mean? What runs he's making and what feints of runs he's making and all that sort of thing. And also, like, I've no doubt that he is going to up the tempo in that dressing room at least another 30%. My only problem is that I feel like we're a bit bloated now in them positions. Like, where does Cavani come into this? We shouldn't forget about him. He was brilliant for us last season. So, like, where does he fit in? Where does Sancho fit in? Where does Rashford fit in? Greenwood, you know what I mean? Like, you can't overlook him. He's had a stormer.
And Martial, like, he came on today, didn't have a lot of time, Glenn, but he made some sort of impact, held the ball up, got a few fouls in there.
He looked. I think Martial looked better on the left than Sancho did all game. Like, I'm not digging Sancho out because it's only his full start, but at the same time, like, Martial gets a lot of criticism. Got a lot of criticism last week. Came on and looked all right. You know what I mean? Didn't tear up any trays, but won a couple of free kicks when we needed them near the end of the game and all. You know what I mean? Being very clever. But again, is he going to carry that into, you know, the next game or the game after that? You know what I mean? It's a consistency issue we seem to have with a lot of our players, Rory, and Martial's one of the biggest culprits to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time. And just starting on Mika saying there, so, you know, Ronaldo has the physique basically of a 26-year-old, which is very true, man. The chap is a beast.
I think he's 0% body fat or something. It's mad. It's mad. Do you know?
We all know he doesn't drink Coca-Cola or Heineken as well. So,
no, definitely, yeah.
And he's a winner. He's a winner. But Glenn, I suppose we might as well get into the game today against Wolves. So we were about watching it. To be honest, the starting lineup, I was glad to see Varane get in. I was glad to see Sancho get in starting. I was devastated to see Fred in there, to be honest. With Pogba, I knew from the start that wouldn't be a great match. I know McTominay's out. Fred is kind of our only option going with maybe the lineup Ollie likes to go with. But for me, I didn't have much confidence in it, and I was regretting that I was proved right. So I'd like to hear your opinion on what you thought basically the match to start. So we got the win. We got 3 points. That's all that matters. But how did you feel about the game as a whole, Glenn?
Well, I mean, look, anyone will tell you it's about winning games. Do you know what I mean? Like today was a tough game. It was always going to be a tough game. Going into the international break, you don't want to be going in with a defeat. You don't want to be going in with a draw. Really, when you had the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool cancelling each other out yesterday, you've Man City beating Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? Which took them to 6 points, and you've Spurs who went to top of the table today on 9 points. So realistically, getting a draw today wouldn't have been good enough. Do you know what I mean? Getting that win, you know what I mean? There's an extra bit of confidence now going into the international break. There's a little bit of pressure that eases on you, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't get it wrong, Roddy. I think like that, you know, Ollie's under some serious pressure now with the likes of Ronaldo coming in. You know what I mean? Like, so we have to get the job done. We did in the end, but we were terrible. Terrible today. That first half was just, we were non-existent. We were second to every ball. There was no movement or creativity in the midfield. Pogba was forced to look long all the time anytime he got on the ball, do you know what I mean? Which made him give the ball away a couple of times, do you know what I mean? But, you know, anytime he seemed to play the ball first time, we looked to be in. But again, there was no real movement or anything. Fred today could have cost us that game 3 or 4 times. And my issue now is...
First half hour, Glenn. First half hour, we could have been 2-0 down.
My issue now is that what does Fred have to do not to start the game? He was woeful last week. He was worse this week. I'm going to bring Van der Beek into it because I feel sorry for him, Roddy. I really do, because I'm thinking, you know, McTominay is injured. You know, last week, Matic and Fred start. I thought last season Van der Beek had a decent game at Southampton. Didn't start this season. Didn't get on. He hasn't played any minutes. Last season, we played Wolves at Molineux at the end of the season. Van der Beek started and played well. Expected him to start today. I did, because you'd only come out during the week saying he's an important player, he has a big part to play. You had Van der Beek's agent coming out saying that's grand. Basically, you know what I mean? We can't have another season like last season. And then you have Van Gaal coming out there and saying, look, he has to play games or else he's not going to get into the World Cup squad, which is right. So what does Fred have to do not to start and Van der Beek have to do to start the game? But to be honest with you, when you look at Van der Beek last season, when he did play, I think he started 4 Premier League games last season, he came off all the time. 60th minute, 65th minute, he was hauled off. Look at Fred today and last week. He got the full 90 minutes. I mean, it's not on, it's not.
The thing is about Fred, and Mika said it there, he had a bad start, and that was it for the rest of the game. That was the standard, if you ask me. But what is it? And I've been asking this question for a while, Glenn, and you've said Fred brings energy and, you know, he brings something to the team. I don't see it anymore. So I want to know, what is it that Ollie's saying that Fred is bringing?
I don't know, Roddy. I don't know. Like, I can only say this word that you're going to jump all over. Maybe it's his energy. That's all I can think of, because we know his range of passing's not there. He doesn't have a defensive mind. He really doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Not the physique to push a player off.
Today Amand Traore was on fire today, and he ripped a lot of people. Look,
he ghosted
a lot of people today. But I mean, Fred had no hope today. Had no hope. So I don't know what Ollie sees in him. But again, it goes back to Ollie having his favourites, and that is going to cost us, man. It's going to cost us. Look, I don't know now what team Ollie puts out the next time we play. That's me worry, and I don't think he does either. You'd be afraid that maybe Lindelof might come back in alongside Maguire and Varane steps out. That's the way we are at the moment, like. Do you know what I mean? Like, his excuse for Matic starting last week ahead of Van der Beek was the fact that he had a good pre-season. Now, I'm assuming that Van der Beek had a good pre-season as well, you know what I mean, with the reports that has gone around. But you have to look at it today, like, you know what I mean? You're looking at the way where he had Pogba. He's putting Pogba as a holding midfielder, you know what I mean? The beginning, first game of the season, he had him out on the left. Do you know what I mean? Against Southampton, he tried him out there. Like, now we're chopping and changing too much.
Yeah.
Like, we should know where these players' best positions are before the season starts, Rory. We're 3 games in now. We shouldn't be chopping and changing like that. But as I said to you, for me, when you look at the plan, and it feels like we're bullying Fred, but it has to be said.
And someone says that it feels like we have an agenda against Fred. But to be honest, it's just my personal opinion that I don't think he fits.
That's Ray, that is.
Is it?
That's Ray, yeah.
I don't think he fits into that position.
No,
You know,
he
where
doesn't.
Brazil plays out on the left, it's kind of more defensive left role. But he's just in that central role where he's supposed to be a player who's making the ball move, bringing up front of the players who can pass it into the likes of Cavani or Greenwood. He can't do it, and it
No.
slows our whole game down, to be honest.
Well, look, he definitely looked like the Fred of old. He did. He looked like the Fred that first came into the United team a couple of years ago. He got off to a terrible start. He gave a lazy ball away in the Wolves half, and they counter-attacked.
Yeah, easy ball.
And after that, he never really recovered in the first half. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think separates, good players from the bad players. Do you know what I mean? You are going to make a mistake, but you have to, redeem yourself. And I don't think he redeemed himself in the whole of the first half. Now, people will probably say that he was, covering both left and right. But at the same time, like, do you know what I mean? You have to be able to make them bleeding 10, 15, 20-yard passes. Do you know what I mean? And he doesn't do them. And he didn't do
it.
The
tackles, it's down to interceptions and tackles. And we were talking just before we came on that, the ball was kicked at him there, that it was breaking, and it kind of bounced off him and went to, it wasn't Traore. Sorry, I can't remember the name of who it went to, but I mean, to me, that was unacceptable. And then he's scarping him back. He's falling on the ground. You know what I mean? It's
Rory,
getting cleared off the line.
Wolves haven't scored this season, Rory. Right? Wolves haven't scored this season, and Wolves were the better team today, and they were decent against Spurs. I can't remember who they played against in the first game, either, but they've been. I think it was Leicester. I think, yeah, Leicester. So they've been beaten 1-0 in all 3 games. So for me, I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, like, if that had been a different team today, the likes of your Cities, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Liverpool, the top teams, we would have been punished for that first half. You know what I mean? And I don't think Ollie is helping Fred out when he's leaving him on the pitch for as long as he's leaving. And I don't think Fred deserved a full 90 minutes today. Do you know what I mean? If you're on the bench now and you're looking, and you're the likes of Van der Beek or even Lingard or whoever, and all you'd be expecting Cavani to come on in a game like that. You know what I mean? When you're going for the win, Martial comes on all right. You know what I mean? Martial had a terrible game last week, as we all know. But if you're Van der Beek and Lingard and you're looking and you're saying to yourself, what do we have to do to even get minutes? Like, Van der Beek hasn't played 1 minute of this season yet.
Yeah.
Why is Ollie coming out and saying to him, oh, he's going to be a big part of your plans and all that? Like, his actions aren't going with what he's saying. You know what I mean? If I was Van der Beek now, I'd ask to go on loan. I'd go into the office and say, look, there's a couple of days left of the transfer window. Get me out on loan. I need to play. That's what I do. Because, I mean, it's not doing him any good. It's not doing us any good that he's sitting on the bench.
And yeah, you're right. And you need that second player. So if you look at Guardiola, maybe if someone's not playing that well in the middle, he has a deep bench. He'll switch it up.
Yeah.
Ollie, I don't know if you can think beyond that initial, this is the team I'm going out with. This is the team that's going to win me the game. What I was going to say to you as well, Glenn, is Varane. So Varane, first game starting for United, first appearance. I'd say he did very well. You know what I mean? First time in the Premier League. It's a more physical game than the Spanish League, as people say. I haven't played it myself, so I wouldn't know, but that's what I'm being told. But what do you think of his performance first time out?
I thought he was good, yeah. I thought he was very good, Rory, because I think, as you said, it's the first time in the league, first game in the league, and you're looking and you're saying to yourself, inside the first minute or two, he has your man Traore breathing down his neck. You know what I mean? Like, and he has to slow him down and all, and he did. Do you know what I mean? He covered Maguire. He covered Maguire a couple of times as well today. You know what I mean? Which was nice to see. It's nice to see that they're building on something already. So I think it was the perfect game to come in. I still think there's a lot more to come from him. You know what I mean? But when you look at it, we haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 10 games or something, or 10 away games, something like that. He comes in and we keep a clean sheet. Now, it's not a coincidence other than David De Gea pulled off an unbelievable double save today, which should be heralded for the rest of the week. He should be in, you know what I mean, a lot of paper talk and all that sort of stuff, because that was David De Gea 2015. I mean, the first one straight at him, you know what I mean? He just has to react. But then the second one, Jesus Christ, it was unbelievable. But the clean sheet, it's not a coincidence that coincides with Varane's first start for United. You know what I mean?
And you mentioned that one, and I'll bring it up because Varane, you could see that physical aspect of the game maybe on that header David Hayes saved, and then said that was Varane, trying to get up, and he couldn't. And I think he has to get used to that physical aspect where
of course,
you're not going to get a free kick for that. But Glenn,
no, and you have to look at it as well. Like, Wolves, although they weren't the same, they didn't have to show the same energy levels that they showed in the first half. They never stopped today. You know what I mean? Yeah. That would have been one of Varane's most physical games, I'd say, in a long time. I'd say he gets a game like that, or he probably got a game like that once or twice, maybe a season in the league, maybe. You know what I mean? But today, they were full on it. So that's why I'm saying it was a good game to come in at. You know what I mean? Now we know what he's going to be up against week in, week out. But the thing is, for me, there was a lot of build-up about Varane coming to United and all. There was a lot of stuff around him signing. Then the paperwork wasn't finished and all. But he didn't freeze today. He showed his class. And, there's way more to come as well. So you'd have to turn around and say it was a very good start from him. And I think you can see that he is going to add that calm and presence to the whole, not just the back four, but the defence. You know what I mean? And as well as that, as I said, he covered Maguire a couple of times. It looked like Traore got past him a couple of times to pass. They crossed the ball in, and he blocked it out for the corner. And then you see him G and the lads up and all. You know what I mean? So he's stamped his mark on that team already, and so he showed with everything that he's won and the type of character that he is. So I was happy with it.
Yeah. And I did see him Gene the lads up, as you said, Glenn. Do you think that's something that maybe he's recognising needs to happen? Like, if in your first game for a new club, is that something you need to be doing? Or should that already be there, especially with a team like Man United?
No, look, I don't think you should be going playing Johnny Big Bollocks if it's not in your nature, you know what I mean? But when you're the type of defender that Varane is and all, do you know what I mean? And how revered he is around the world and everything, and you're a World Cup winner, you shouldn't have any fear coming into any team and saying, look, this is what we should be doing, and you know what I mean, we have to do better. Come on, it just shows you that it's not a big deal to him to turn around and say, look, let's get shit together.
Yeah, good point. Well, let's have a quick look at his stats there. So I'll show them up on the screen that we have here. So we have 88% pass accuracy for Varane, 74 total touches of the ball, 5 passes into the final third. There's good other stats here. I'm not going to read through all of them, Glenn, but it's a very good start for them. We know we're going to get into fantasy football later, and he actually has the bonus points for United, which shows that he's...
Look at that one though, Roddy. 0. He wasn't dribbled past once today. That's
what you want to see.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I think if we put a comparison against Lindelof, there would be a big difference there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Okay, look at his aerial duels, 5. He only won 2 with him again. That's just him adapting and learning, how physical the league is. I've no doubt that he will pick up on that very soon, you know what I mean? I'm only going mad now that we have an international break coming up that's going to stop us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ollie was actually saying in an interview that the international break would be good for the lads to kind of get out and play some game time for that country and then come back and really get into it, and you'll have that time together with the players.
What lads is he talking about there? Because he's not playing half the squad, like. So how are they supposed to get into the international teams, like? You know what I mean? If they're not playing for the club, like. I think that's a ridiculous statement. That just shows you where his head in.
There was actually
he just wants to deal with
14, statements in his interview, Glenn. There was a few statements in his interview that I was a bit questionable about, because he did mention, as you said earlier, Jesse Lingard, and he said Jesse was going to start the Leeds game, but because he had COVID a few weeks before, he was still recovering, so we didn't start him.
Yeah.
But then you're looking at Southampton, then you're looking at Wolves, and he doesn't get the start. So
why? But Roddy, listen, fuck Lingard. Lingard has to go. That's the issue here. Like, I don't know why we're bloating the squad up. We've brought in top quality players. We have to let the players in their positions that we're not going to use go. Why have we got Lingard there? Why are we keeping James and Lingard? Surely one of them should be going out at least on loan. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be having them in the squad. Like.
And in your opinion, out of those 2 players, who would you prefer in the squad?
I'd let Lingard go. I would, simply because he wasn't deemed good enough last season when he went out on loan. You know what I mean? You can turn around and say what you want. You can't have a 28-year-old going out on loan and then coming back. You know what I mean? Look, how many minutes has he played? 15 minutes in the first 3 games. Like, he's not looked at as a player, as a priority player. He's just not. And if you want any, like, you know, Phil Jones gets a lot of grief because he's the 5th choice centre back now and he hasn't played in God knows how long. And people are saying, he should be trying to go out and all. I suppose you have to ask yourself who wants him. There's talk about him going on loan to a championship team, maybe Fulham. But if you're Jesse Lingard, why are you here? Like, you're in yourself, you know what I mean? Forget about what Ollie is saying to him. Do you want to play football or not? This is where I think United need to be ruthless, and Ollie in particular. We need to start offloading people. Like, why is it that we can't get rid of any players that are on the books? You know what I mean? Like, put them on the transfer list. That lets everyone then know you're surplus to requirements. So if you are staying, you're only staying because you're on a big fat contract that we were stupid enough to give you. But then it lets everyone know in the football world, like, these are, you know what I mean? They're not here to actually play football or better themselves. They're only here to better themselves financially.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And
don't
Ferdinand,
say, we don't want them. It's like what a player saying, don't want these players. You know what I mean?
Ferdinand called that out about Phil Jones actually during the week, that he it seems like he's just there for that fat contract that he has. And then also for Varane, they asked for the number 4 jersey, and
I don't know how true that is, Roddy.
Phil Jones said he's keeping it. Listen, all right, it's not a gossip column, but I'm just telling you what's been said.
No, I've seen that as well. I put that in a few pages as well. I did, you know what I mean? But I was shut down a couple of times, and one of the two of them were like, "How you know about that?" Blah blah blah.
Where's your source?
Look, come here. If Varane wanted the number 4, I think he would have got it. That's the truth. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to come in and be like, "Look, I want this, I want that." But regardless of numbers, you know what I mean? That means nothing. We want to trim the squad down now. We're bloated. And the likes of Jones and Varane, Jones and Jimmy Varane, Jesus, Jones and Lingard especially. You know what I mean? They have to go.
Yeah.
Get them out. Get money for them.
Yeah. Well, just to finish up on Varane there, we'll just see what Ollie had to say. So we said. After the game, he said Varane was class, composed, experienced, good on the ball, in the air. He's got everything as a centre-back, so I'm delighted with his performance. Now, of course, Ollie doesn't really call out the bad things about players, but Varane definitely deserves those comments. Definitely does. Glenn, about the goal, so there was a lot of controversy about the tackle, Pogba's tackle on Neves just before the goal. First look, I thought that's not a foul. What are you thinking?
No, it's not a foul. It's not a foul. Like, no way. No way, man. No. Listen, come here and I tell you, this is the problem we now have is that the referees are allowing the game to flow, which is great. You know what I mean? But anytime a challenge leads to a goal, it's automatically a free. If that was a bad tackle, Rory, he would have went down straight away.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't jog off and then look at the ref when you realise you're not going to get the ball and hit the deck. You don't do that.
And he actually said that in the interview after. He said, I got caught. I realised where the ball was going. And then I decided that, you know what I mean? So, yeah. It was a dangerous challenge, but he only caught him on the shin guard. So he flicked the shin guard. He didn't catch him. He didn't catch him to take him down. But the studs were up, Glenn. The studs were up.
It's not a dangerous tackle, man. You know what I mean?
The studs were up, Glenn.
Come on, there's worse tackles that can want to Fairview Park every day of the week, man.
Yeah, you know people get injured.
Look, it's not a foul. It's not a foul.
I think if he had gone down...
it's not a foul because the referee was right there and didn't give it, and VAR checked it and they didn't give it.
Yeah.
So it's not a foul.
True. All right, it wasn't a foul. I think if he had gone down with the first bit of contact, it would have been a foul because he did catch him, but he didn't.
But it shows you, Rory, he didn't catch him. You know what I mean? He didn't catch him enough. If you know you're saying it's a dangerous tackle, if you're caught on the bleeding shins by a stud, you're gonna you fucking wrecks. You're gonna hit the deck. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. He didn't do that because he knew, or I'm gonna get away with this. As soon as he seen the ball getting away from him, he went down and hit the deck. I think that's probably what went against him as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The fact
that he got a yellow for it as well, didn't he?
Huh? Did he get a yellow for it?
I think he got booked for that, yeah.
He's got booked because he was moaning at the referee about the goal. But I mean, you look at it, those tackles going in today, like not that ferocity, but you know what I mean. The game has to flow. I would have been disappointed as fuck if we hadn't given that. If that goal had been chalked off. You know what I mean? Because you look at us last week. Bruno, you know what I mean? Your man getting stuck into Bruno. I said at the time I didn't think that was a foul, but last season it would have been a foul. You know what I mean? Cost was a goal. So no, it was definitely it was all right. I mean, if Pogba hadn't went in for that ball, people would be eating them alive.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. And then Mason Greenwood's finished, Glenn. I
Yeah,
mean,
brilliant.
people say it looked like it was kind of going wide, but it doesn't matter. That low, hard cross goal kick shot that he's always trying. And we've
Yeah.
seen it just go wide. It just missed the post. Sometimes it creeps in. The keeper probably gave it a bit of a hand this week.
Mason Greenwood walked his bollocks off today, Roddy. He did. He really did. Do you know what I mean? Some things came off, some things didn't. But when you're the type of player he is, you can go on your right, you can go on your left, and you have the strike that he has, things are going to work out for you. You know what I mean? Jamie Carragher was saying in commentary that he thought it was a cross. When I looked at it, look at the replays and all, I thought it was a definite shot. He is going for goal. And I don't know if it's going wide. If it is going wide and it went in on the keeper, happy days. But the keeper should be doing better. But that's the look you need. And I used to like it that he's getting that. What is he, the second teenager to score 3 consecutive goals in the Premier League? You know what I mean? That's unbelievable. What's he got now? 31 goals or something as a teenager. He's only getting better. And he's only going to get better with Ronaldo in the team. I just hope he's not lost in the shuffle now with Ronaldo coming in, because we think it's fitting that he's had the last say today, really, and everything that's been going on about a 36-year-old coming back to the Premier League, that, you know what I mean, the 19-year-olds are popping up with the winner. And last week he popped up with another important goal and all, you know what I mean? So he started off like a house on fire, and I think it's mad that he's not in the England squad. Gareth Southgate is definitely holding that against him, what happened the last time he was in the England camp when him and Phil Foden were sent home. I know that he was in the provisional England squad as well for the Euros, but then he pulled out from injury. Maybe that's probably holding against him as well. But he should definitely be in that England squad. And I think Calvert-Lewin pulled out as well today, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't bring Greenwood into the squad, you know what I mean? But we definitely have a player in our hands there. And he deserves everything he's getting at the moment.
Big time. And Glenn, so we're looking at, you're saying, you know, the squad's a bit full now, to get rid of Lingard, get rid of James maybe. But who is the starting players that you want to see in that team now that we have a good selection of quality players?
Well, obviously, you want to go and you want to say Varane, Maguire at the back, Shaw. To be honest with you, today I thought the game was probably crying out a little bit for Dalot when he did come on, but I thought it was crying out him a little bit earlier in the game. You know what I mean? You can see Wan-Bissaka, you've one fullback going forward that's capable of whipping the ball in, taking a player on. Wan-Bissaka, as we've said this last week, we've said this for a while, is not capable of doing that. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to go and win games, you know what I mean? He could be a player that could come off. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka and Shaw on the right and the left. To be honest with you, I don't know who you start in the middle now, because he doesn't obviously have any trust in anyone else but Fred and McTominay. But I'd like to see us go 4-3-3. I'd like us to go with Van der Beek as the pivot. I'd like us to have Bruno and Pogba then in the middle. And then obviously with Ronaldo coming in, you'd say Ronaldo down the middle, Sancho on the right, and I'd have Greenwood coming off the left. Or you can switch them two. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the team I'd go with at the moment. That looks to be our strongest. But then again, Roddy, if the likes of Bleeding, Rashford and all that has to come back in and all, you know what I mean? Which is decent, like, which is a good team. But as I said, like, the squad is way too bloated. We've way too many attacking options now. From not having any, you know, really at the beginning of last season on, now all of a sudden now we've loads. We're too full there. You know what I mean? Again, if we was the likes of James, he was the first one to be hauled off today. Again. He tries his best, but there's no real product that he ever does. Like, you know what I mean? Again, if we was James, I'd be thinking, am I going to get the game time I probably need as the season goes on? Or do I want to go out on loan maybe? You know what I mean? Loan deals for players like that could do them the world of good. You know what I mean? And I'm saying loan for James because, you know, he's only at the club a couple of years. You know what I mean? He's still young. I wouldn't know. The likes of Lingard and all, no, his time is up. Get rid. But Pogba and Bruno in the middle with Donny as the holding player, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like the idea, Donny, in there. I think he probably needs to work on his defensive techniques, maybe getting back, because he does like to go forward, likes to get into the box and kind of drag players out of position, which can lead us kind of on the back foot.
Yeah.
But if he's investing that much time in the likes of Fred and McTominay to improve in that position, I think it's worth putting it into Donny. I don't see it happening.
No, Rory, Donny's finished. That's the truth. He's not gonna. If he didn't get into any of the games at the beginning of the season, it's not gonna work out. I know people are probably saying that he's a fucking angel there, but I'm telling you, this has been going on since last year. the slate cut should have been wiped clean for every player and all. Ollie obviously doesn't fancy him. I don't think he was an Ollie signing at all. I think Ollie was just giving him. You know what I mean? And he's just being stubborn about it. But at the end of the day, and I will say this, if Jose Mourinho was treating Van der Beek like this, it'd be front page news. There'll be United fans everywhere going mad now. When you look at what Mourinho was doing to Shaw and everything, you know what I mean? The press and all, like, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And I know he was sort of coming out in press conferences and saying stuff and all. But at the end of the day, like, you can't have a £40 million player on the bench that hasn't really been given a chance. That's the problem, dude. You know what I mean? And Ollie is, for me, is bringing Van der Beek down. He is, because, you know, he was left. He pulled out the Euro squad, the Netherlands Euro squad, with an injury and all. But he really played. I don't think he would have, because he didn't play enough for us. And then you look at the World Cup and all. Like, I mean, World Cup is what players were dreaming of since they're kids. Professional players do. If you have the manager coming out saying that he needs minutes, and it's a manager that doesn't like United because of the way he was treated at the club as well, you have an issue there. You can't come out and say, like, and the thing is, Ollie's had a couple of chances to say he's not really for us or whatever. But why is he coming out saying he's a big part of the team and everything? That leads to Van der Beek's agent saying, oh, Ollie's had to say that's grand. You know, but obviously we can't have a season like last season. You have to give Van der Beek a lot of credit here. He hasn't thrown his toys out of the pram once, Roddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been treated beyond bad.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
Yeah, what I liked from Van der Beek from the start is he has a positive attitude, and Ollie always talks about the attitude of players and the chemistry they bring to the overall team. You know, and that energy that you're talking about that Fred has. I think Van der Beek has great energy. I think it might not be in line with the energy that Ollie's talking about. And to be honest, I don't know why we're talking about so much energy, because it's what you can do on the pitch. So when you were talking before about the energy Fred brings, it's just like, that's great, but
that's all I can see.
A bit more.
That's all I can see is a bit of enthusiasm about him. But you're looking, you're saying, you know, Fred and Van der Beek, technically, who's better?
Yeah.
Van der Beek all day, you know what I mean? Like,
so something that was coming up just in my mind is, I want to get your opinion on this now, is the relationship that Ollie might have with Ronaldo. So Ronaldo's played under some of the biggest names, managerial names you can get at some of the biggest clubs. And then you're coming in under a manager that has won the Norwegian League, is his top trophy. And, you know, he's didn't make it to the Champions League last year. Like, is the relationship between a player like Ronaldo, who demands success, and Ollie, who hasn't achieved success yet, is the balance going to be all right there, Glenn? I just think Ollie might not know what to do with Ronaldo.
I worry about that, Roddy. Yeah, I do. Because as I said, like, you're looking at Ronaldo, the fittest player probably in the world, and it'd be just like Ollie to turn around and say, it's not quite ready yet. It's only room with the lads, because I think he's coming in at the 8th of September. 3 days before the Newcastle game. To me, that's enough. If he doesn't start him and I go over there and I'm going to fucking snap, it'll be Ollie out. I'm telling you. But no, look, I don't know. Look, I don't think Ronaldo is one of them players that goes by what the manager's won. You know what I mean? Like, you look at it like, you know, at Juventus, he had your man Sarri, who for me wasn't great. Ended up winning the league. Then he ended up last season with Pirlo, who was a great player, but has a lot to learn as a manager. You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard Ronaldo come out and actually say anything about, you know, I don't want to be here because of Pirlo or anything. Yeah. So I think Ronaldo's relationship with Ollie is a plus, but I don't think it'll have anything to do with, you know, when he starts or you know, what Ronaldo makes of him as managerial wise. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Ronaldo's just a machine, and I think he's just there to win, and he's going to bring that winning mentality. Like, it's about how we manage him, Marty. You know what I mean? I just don't want to see us fucking saying, oh no, we can't play. Like, people are saying he can't play 2 games in a week, and all. Like, I don't believe that. Do you know what I mean? What was he doing at the Euros?
He is a beast.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at it and say, he's 36, we have him on a 2-year contract. All right, it's a short-term fix. You want to blade everything you can out of Ronaldo before he goes.
Yeah.
You know that way?
And also, I think Ronaldo will bring a sense of responsibility to the team. I think we're missing that. You know, so you see Varane giving it, you know, a bit of encouragement to the other players, but I think we're missing a key player who
It's
whole
goals, Roddy. What missing?
responsibility. I know Maguire's the captain, but he doesn't have that just passion about
Roddy,
him. That
it's the clinicalness in front of the goal that we're missing. That's what we're missing, and Ronaldo's going to give us that. You give him that ball in between the goalposts, and he's going to score. Simple as that.
yeah, Glenn. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but today it was a bit lazy. You know, there was players playing very lazy balls. Didn't seem up for it. The runs weren't there. It was quite slow. And I know Wolves had a lot of players behind the ball. And we saw the same in Southampton. But if that's going to happen 2 games in a row, then clubs are just going to say, right, this is the way you break United down. All you have to do is be clinical in front of goal. And if Wolves were clinical in front of goal today, it could have been 3-0.
There's just a lack of movement, Roddy. That's the thing, like, you know what I mean? I feel
But
like
it's the lack. I think, yeah, lack of movement. But some part of it is the lack of responsibility to someone to get in the face of those players to tell them you're not playing good enough. You need to, like, if you look at Roy Keane back in the day, he would have been in your face saying you're not playing good enough. You need to step it up, or else. And you might say Gary Neville and Paul Scholes in interviews would say that's what kept you going. I don't think we have that in any of the players, to be honest.
yeah, now Roddy, look, I think Ronaldo's definitely going to bring them standards up. I mean, he's bringing the standards in. That's what I was saying earlier. You know what I mean? It's all about prep and everything. And that's what I mean, boy. He's not going to need time to bed in and all, because as soon as he's on that pitch, he's going to be letting the likes of Greenwood and Sancho and Bruno even. You know what I mean? No, this is where I want the ball. Watch out with this run. Blah 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 blah. That's what's going to happen. I mean, you seen it last season at Spurs when Cavani tells Greenwood, next time I want the ball in early. What happened? Next ball went in early. Cavani scores. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm expecting Ronaldo to be the exact same, just better. You know what I mean? But again, like, where are they going to fit all these players in? That's me worry. Like now we have strength and depth. Are we going to be able to use it over the season? That's the issue.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. So, Glenn, we have a bit of a break coming up. So we have the internationals coming in for the World Cup qualifiers. So we just have, I suppose, I'll give you the Ireland and England games, since most of our players are from there. Well, no, that's wrong to say, actually. But
what you say?
I was going to give you the Ireland and the England, but I could give you the French one as well. Since Varane Pog was there, Martial. So Ireland's playing Portugal on the 4th September, which is this Wednesday. That's a big game for Ireland now, I have to say.
Goal difference is going to be huge there.
Yeah, and then France have a huge game coming up on the same day, same time. They're playing Bosnia here. It's a goal, England.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is France in their squad? Is France and Portugal in their group? Is that what you were saying there, Eddie? No, they're not. They're not. Portugal's in that group. Yeah.
Portugal's in that group. Serbia, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan. So Azerbaijan, and Serbia. Those are coming up as well. I think there's 3 fixtures in quite a close time. France have. Let me see here. France have. So the Bosnia Herzegovina. We have Azerbaijan. Then France have Ukraine. England have, it's gone for me now, Poland and Andorra. I think Andorra is before Poland. So what is this? This is a good chance for some of our players to get game time with our country. Ollie said in an interview, after the international break, we can start to ramp it up and really push as a team. I don't know how you feel about that. Is that a comment? Should we be waiting until after the international break, or should they have already started?
We should have already started, yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck the international break. That's nothing to do with him. The only thing he should be concerned himself about is making sure all the players come back fit. You know what I mean? We don't pick up too many knocks on it. But I do think today's result was a huge result, just in terms of we are going into a 2-week break. You know what I mean? So to get the 3 points, move up the tour on the table. But as I said, as soon as we come back, Roddy, the pressure is on. There's huge pressure on us this season, just because of the transfers we're at to pulling off. You know, that way, one of them's going really well in Varane. Sancho really didn't have his best game today. You know, obviously the only positive you can take in that is that he can only get better. You know, that way, like. But again, is he playing his best position? When you look at him coming at Dortmund, when he played on the right, his numbers were better. But we seem to be playing him on the left. Every game he's played in, he's come on the left hand side. You know what I mean? Like, again, you have to question Ollie on that. Like, what are you doing? Are we playing to these players' strengths? But he has to sort of say that, when you're going on after the international break, we have to push on. He has to say that. But we do. You know what I mean? Like, we do. Because you can't afford to be falling behind City and Liverpool and Chelsea. You can't afford that. And with today's result, we didn't. But if we hadn't got that, we would have been 2 points off City, or 2 points off Liverpool and Chelsea, and we would have been 4 points off Spurs on top. You know what I mean? Like, so as long as we're in and around them, we'd be doing all right. But the performances, Roddy, would have to improve. I mean, the first game of the season at Leeds was great, but they play an open, expansive football. So that played into our hands. But again, we're at this stage again. We're going away from home. And although we got that record, 28 away games undefeated, we take over Arsenal and the Invincibles at that. So it's a great record to have. But we're still struggling to break teams down. And Roddy, we could have lost that game. We could have lost that game 2 or 3-0 today.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And we're coming back in. It's not too hard of a game, I suppose, with Newcastle, but
we should be again.
I'm a little bit worried, Glenn, that we're going to. It's a home game, but that game against Wolves, it just has me worried that it's a lot of similarities to last year about how we're setting up the team and how we're playing.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Even though we brought
what is our pattern of play? Like today, we relied on an individual to get us out of jail, basically, and. What we have right now is we have a lot more individuals than we did last season that can do that. And that's great. But at the same time, you need your team to have an identity. I don't know what it is. Like, it's easy to say, yeah, we're a counter-attacking team. All right, grand.
Didn't see any of that today.
What about when we can't counter-attack? Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing seemed to change tactically from Ollie today in that game. That's another issue as well, Roddy, you have to look at.
Yeah.
Wolves... They packed the midfield over today. They were happy to let us have the ball, Varane and Maguire and all that to have the ball. As soon as it went into the middle, boom, they were on us. We didn't seem to have an answer for that. Nothing was coming from the sides to say, listen, what are we going to do? What are we going to change? And I think, already the second half, I said it already, Wolves' energy wasn't the same, you know what I mean? And that helped us. That we had a little bit more possession than we did in the first. But as I said, when we come against the bigger teams, Rory, like you look at Chelsea, they're frightening at the moment to me.
Yeah.
Because they went down to 10 men yesterday, and they still they got away with a draw at Anfield. You know what I mean? They held out and got the draw. So when you come up against the likes of Chelsea, you're coming up against teams that are going to be well drilled. And when they get a chance, when they get their chances, they're going to take them.
Yeah, they made Liverpool look very poor now, I have to say. And you're talking about that relationship down, not the relationship, I suppose, coming up and down the wings there instead of going through the middle. That relationship with Shaw and James it's not quite as strong, maybe, as the relationship with Shaw, Rashford, or Shaw and Pogba. Do you think that was an issue today?
To be honest with you, I don't think Luke Shaw had his best game going forward today. He couldn't seem to get away with his man around. There's a couple of times he wasn't playing the right balls. But I suppose that happens. But it doesn't help when players in front of you keep chopping and changing already either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But look, we got away with it, man. That's the thing. We got away with it today. So we'll go into the international break happy with the first 3 games. 7 points out of 9 is not too bad. And we'll see what way and shape the squad come back in after the international break. Hopefully we don't get too many injuries or too many knocks. And, hopefully we see Ronaldo against Newcastle. You know what I mean? Because, you're back at Old Trafford for the first time in a couple of weeks.
Because you're going over.
Because I'm going over, yeah. I don't mind. Look, to be honest with you, I don't mind. Look, obviously, because I'm going over, I'd love him to start. I'd love him to play. I'd love to see him. But to even see him on the pitch holding the United shirt again, give us something like that again to get the crowd going.
Yeah.
Something like that, and we'd be happy. But I'd be happy with the fact that we beat Newcastle, yeah. Newcastle are dreadful.
Yeah,
we've a bit to look forward to.
They haven't had a good run so far, anyway.
No.
Glenn, it's
a wonderful
football.
It's a wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time.
Sorry, dude, my butterfingers. There's a lot of buttons on this screen.
This is
the Fantasy Football League we're playing. Glenn, bad news for yourself this week. I don't know if you checked it, but you're told out with the 3. Oh, you fell from glory quite quickly there. You and Harry Kane. I thought to get rid of him. You put him in.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how this is working, bro. I really don't. Like, you know what I
You
mean?
pick
Like,
your players, and they're the ones that play and get you points, Glenn.
how did I only get 25 though? When Maguire, Shaw,
No,
Fernandez all
you
good
have
today.
40. You have 40 points this week.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, you have
40
40
points.
altogether, but they're all. I'd say most of your points are coming from Shaw Maguire's clean sheet, which, geez, that couldn't have been that was close from there, to be honest. And then
You're
Calvert
only a
Lewin.
point ahead of me, Rory, man. You were only a point ahead of me. Like, the problem is that I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing, and I picked a lot of blade nobodies because I thought I was being smart. But as I said,
Where's the nobodies in that team? Go on, you name them.
well, I can't even get to my team. Hang on a second, yeah. Well, the
Excuses. But the
goalkeeper
only
wasn't
one you
the best.
don't
The
have there.
goalkeeper wasn't the best. When I look at yourself Ray's team, like, he's a goalkeeper's a top quality. You have a top quality centre backs there, and he's a midfield. Do you know what I mean? Like, Madison's let me down a bit. I had to say Calvert Lewin's down very well with me. With Danny Ings there, do you know what I mean? Harry Kane doesn't really score in August in the league. I don't know why, but that's just what follows him around. So I think after that, I think he'll come good. And to be honest with you, he should have got way more than that today. He should have scored at least 2 today. I was watching that match, you know what I mean? But no, I don't mind. I don't mind. I'll figure out how to use this, Roddy, and I just change my whole team. We can come
Figure
back.
out how to use it, Glenn. All I'm hearing is excuses. All I'm hearing is excuses. So we'll start with your team anyway, Glenn. So your points came from Maguire, got 7, so he got a bonus point and a clean sheet, brought him up to 7. Shaw got the clean sheet for United as well. Then Calvert Lewin up front got a goal. That was the penalty. Actually, that penalty with Richarlison, did you see that? What happened?
No, I didn't see.
They were arguing over who was going to take the ball, so who was going to take the penalty. So Richarlison took the ball and walked away with it while there was a dispute over the penalty going on. And then Calvert Lewin had to come over and take the ball from him because he wouldn't give it to him to take the penalty. And then he was arguing after. So actually, Richarlison is in my team. And I'm thinking of getting rid of him for that reason. I think
How do you get rid of players, Roddy, though? How do you just get rid of players?
You just transfer them. I told you. So don't pretend I didn't this big, So in my team, I played a risky one this week. I did, and it was very risky because I was watching the match. I put Bamford as my captain, so he'd get double points. He scored in the last 10, 15 minutes.
Did he score today? Yeah.
He did, yeah. 1-1 Leeds. Then Salah did well for me, 10 points there. Then Shaw and Reguilon clean sheets, and Reguilon got bonus points as well. So that brought me up to 54. Ray smashed it this week. No, he didn't smash it. He got 47, but consistently getting high points. His one was Coleman, got the assist on the penalty, was it? He got the assist on the penalty, he did, yeah. And he got a bonus point in there. Then he had Ward-Prowse, also penalty points there. He scored the penalty. Mahrez, I think, came in with an assist, did he? Yeah, 1 assist. Only played half an hour of the game. And then Vardy came in with a goal and an assist, was it? Yeah, it was, yeah.
Look,
so Ray's top of the league. He's ahead by 12 points ahead of me. And then you're down there, Paddy last. For sure, Glenn, once you get a hang of it after the international break,
you and Ollie be flying, man. I'm looking at my team here, and it will come good. It will come good. Like, if you know what I mean, it'll definitely come good. I'm not panicking. You know that way. But
we can see that the look in your face doesn't say.
No, because I looked at Ray's team and all, and Ray has all the best players and all. I don't. I mean, Twan Zabi and all playing.
But you picked
Madness. I know, yeah. But I thought we were going to do it like proper, you know, that way. And look, I'm sort of in FIFA mode where I'm building a team from the bottom to the top. You are just starting off at the top. You know what I mean? Like, so you just keep going about your business, and I'll keep going about mine. But 13 points off Ray is nothing in this, and I'm only 1 point off you, man. That could have went either way. You know?
Okay.
So
I'm glad you're positive. I'm glad you're positive about it. It's a bit of crack. I don't think Ray changed anything on his team from last week because he has Shaw on the bench. And to be honest, I would have put Shaw in there ahead of some of those other players like Van Dijk against Chelsea. Like, that was never going to be a clean sheet, really, was it?
Yeah, don't know, Rory. Don't know. Don't know, man. Thought Lukaku looked back to his old self he did there yesterday when he couldn't trap the ball, and anytime he was trying to dribble with the ball and make a run when it was getting caught under his feet and everything. It was just like, here we go. You know what I mean? He's come back new and improved.
I'd say let him then if he wants to do
Yeah.
that. Anyway, Glenn, I think that's it for this week.
Lovely.
So we will be back next week. We'll probably review some of those international break games, have a chat about the end of the transfer market, who's come in, who's gone. Hopefully, maybe in Glenn's eyes, we'll see the end of Lingard.
Get him in. Phil Jones.
Maybe Phil Jones. Sure, we can only pray. But here, Glenn, I'll chat to you then, right?
Yeah, see you after, mate. Right?
And thanks everyone for listening. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube, tune into us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. And look forward to talking to you then.